Now, part of that narrative is that the Ukraine war was the result of, quote, an unprovoked Russian aggression. Even the mentioning that history didn't start on February 23, even if you say that there was a history before that, makes you a Putin agent, a follower or proponent of Russian propaganda. And if you propose to try to end the war as soon as possible, which is what the opinion is also of leading military experts, such as, for example, the German former General Kujat, former General Inspector of the Bundeswehr and head of the Military Commission of NATO, a very high position, says that in a recent article that the war cannot be won by either side, that the sanctions may cause irreversible damage to the German economy, that our freedom was neither defended at the Hindu Kush, nor is it defended in Ukraine right now, that this escalation risks the escalation to a nuclear war. All of these are obviously very good reasons to negotiate a peace settlement. And if you say all of that, you are being put on a death list on Ukrainian websites, which are financed by the US State Department. Now, obviously, that is real democracy. And European governments participate regularly in meetings of these Ukrainian institutions which run these websites, such as the Ukrainian Center to Counter Disinformation. You have right now in most of the West European and American countries, Britain for sure, a Gleichhaltung, a lockstep in the mainstream media, which makes Goebbels turn pale because of envy. You have an atmosphere of McCarthyism. You have a digitalized Gestapo. And during the last months, dozens of people told me privately that they are afraid to speak their mind, even in private circles, because otherwise they fear to be ostracized. And I want to say this for the record. We don't need Russian analysis to come to our conclusions. We have an international private news service, Executive Intelligence Review, which was created by LaRouche in 1974. And the NSC Senior Director of International Economic Affairs, Norman Bailey, in 1984, in the position as a White House advisor of the Reagan administration, told us that he considered EIR the best private intelligence service of the world. And more importantly, we are not gathering intelligence by reading newspaper clips, but by advocating our own policies. And then we evaluate the reactions and come to the conclusions and analyze what that means. We know the prehistory of the 23rd of February because we are part of it. Even before the Berlin Wall came down, LaRouche had forecasted the collapse of the Soviet Union absolutely correctly in 1984, where he said that if the Soviet Union would continue their then existing policies of rejecting the cooperation with Reagan on the SDI, of sticking to the Orgakov plan, then they would collapse in 5 years. And that is exactly what happened.